You guys know, I love the Lexus GX 550. Once you rinse it off, no one really has to know that you even left the pavement to begin with. It's a bit stealthy. Behind me is a 2026 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, and while sitting on the same platform as that GX 550, it goes about doing things in a much different way.
The GX is the G-Wagon of the Japanese car world, and the general public knows 99% of G-Wagon owners would be lost without the shining beacons we call traffic lights. But I promise you, when they see you on the ground adjusting your suspension, there will be no question where you've been all weekend.
And yes, although functional, it is not subtle. It's the opposite of subtle. It's a bit like the designer spec. And yeah, if you want to adjust your massive Fox shocks down there, 3 settings, you can do that, and people will definitely know that you know something they don't know, and you're putting in work where they are not. The hood scoop is fake, and certain other parts of the TRD Pro package are simply there for show, which isn't a problem. I love the way this thing looks, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But under the hood is a 2.4 liter inline 4. It is part of the iForce Max hybrid system. So this is the only way you are able to spec the TRD Pro 4Runner. The base engine has about 150 pound-feet of torque less. This has 465 pound-feet of torque, 326 horsepower. It's a part-time 4-wheel drive system. So that means right here on the street, our only option if we don't want to bind up our 4-wheel drive system, our 2-speed transfer case, and completely ruin our fresh Toyota, then we have to keep it in 2-wheel drive on the street. And we will get to the dirt in a second. But the whole point of the 4Runner is to have a kind of sweet middle ground between on-road capability, comfort, daily drivability, and your weekend runabouts out on the dirt or dunes or wherever you want to go. But the whole point of this TRD Pro package, as opposed to the Trail Hunter package, is that this is catered towards kind of the Ford Raptor or Ram TRX crowd, which is higher speed, kind of Baja running type stuff. And that's what these Fox QS3 shocks are tuned for. So when you put them in their firmest setting, they'll react super quick and they'll be able to take up a lot of those high speed, massive bumps without hitting the bump stops. Here on the street though, it needs to ride comfortably. This is why, you know, we didn't buy a Bronco or a Wrangler. We want a little bit more comfort on the street. I'm here in the middle setting. It's pretty comfortable. I drove the whole week so far, actually in the stiffest ride setting, and it was brutal. This is a body-on-frame truck at the end of the day, the same platform, as I mentioned, the GX 550 is on, and of course, the Land Cruiser, the Tacoma, the Tundra. So big bumps in the road, no matter what, they're gonna come through and you could feel that. But on a positive note, when we dial back that suspension a little bit, like I have it right here, it's fun to kind of chuck around on the street. It's got, okay, I was gonna say a little bit of body roll. It's got a ton of body roll. I would not suggest riding in the softest suspension setting here on the street. But it's a little bit dopey. It's, you know, it kind of wanders over the road. If there's a little change in pavement, you're under load, under torque, you've got some steering input, you've got to maybe not wrestle with it, but you've got to be awake. And in that sense, it does still drive like a truck.
And even if you don't drive something as hardcore as a TRD Pro, but still want to return to civilization unscathed, well, 3W floor mats are here to help.
If you don't have time to dry off your dog, your gear, or anything else that wants to get out of the rain, mud, or snow, you better have some good floor mats. And if your CRV didn't come with floor mats, that carpet is gonna start growing things. 3W laser scans the interior of each vehicle they make mats for to ensure a perfect fit, keeping them securely in place even in the extreme cold. The edges are precisely contoured to the edges of the vehicle so none of that water gets through. And using their Vigor Mold technology, 3W's floor mats are highly durable and resistant to that rough daily wear and tear, keeping their shape over time. And after the storm, cleaning is quick and easy. Just a quick rinse and you're good to go. And because they're made with 3W's exclusive Thorax material, they're non-toxic, odorless, and safe for all your passengers. And look, they even have these carpet inserts that you can easily clip back in place when the sun comes back out.
3W offers premium custom fit floor liners for a wide range of Toyota models and other SUVs and pickup trucks. Right now, you can save 35% by using our code ROADSUNTRAVELED. Protect your car this spring with the links in the description. Now back to the 4Runner.
From a driving perspective, it's great. I was expecting lazy steering. It's not. There's no dead spot on center. It's sharp. So it becomes easier to drive on the road. I'm not having to go hand over hand and like all the things that would have completely brought down the on-road truck experience 20 years ago. Yeah, they're gone. And part of this probably has to do with the fact that the one I'm driving today has been compromised. It is not sitting on the Toyo all-terrain tires that this should have come with from the factory. This is sitting on snow tires because it was cold, so they decided not to fit the all-terrain tires. Now, ride quality is great, not quite to the level of the GX550, but that's to be expected. So TRD Pro also gets us a TRD intake and exhaust. So what'll happen, as is to be expected, is the hybrid motor sandwiched between the gearbox and the engine will give you torque, and we can watch this in the gauge display immediately. So there is a real sense of urgency on the pedal. It feels really smooth, it's great. And then, as that kind of tapers off, the turbo will take over. So that creates just a smooth roll-on of torque, and it minimizes the delay of the transmission having to downshift from 1500 RPM to give you the full amount of torque. On the flip side, this does the 4Runner's on-road experience a disservice because when you're going, let's say, up a hill at 1500 RPM, the electric motor will provide some of that torque, negating some of the necessity for the 8-speed to downshift. And what you get under load is drone then. This torque ramps up well before 2000 RPM. It has a very diesel-like power band. Here's the problem, okay? When you're driving normally, sometimes when you're cruising, the engine will just shut off. When you're at a stoplight, of course, it'll shut off. Problem is, this has an exhaust on it. So it's as if these two systems are fighting each other. The engine will come on and roar up, and it sounds okay for a 4-cylinder. It doesn't sound too bad. And then you'll get complete silence. It's almost as if I've been thrown into a terrible Reddit thread, and this is not a fight that I wanted to be a part of. I wanted just to be on the sidelines and be entertained by this hilarious kind of EV versus gasoline internal combustion engine argument. The 4Runner TRD Pro personifies that argument and brings it into reality, and that's not a good thing. The engine's on, the engine's loud, and then silence, and then quiet, and then it gets loud again. You guys get the point. It's not all great, and although that torque is phenomenal, it's just not worth the trade-off. We've got 3 drive modes for the street: Eco, Normal, and Sport. The exhaust basically has a dump back there. It just dumps before the end of the vehicle, and it gets pretty loud. It just makes that whole fighting scenario a lot worse than it needs to be. EPA estimated fuel economy is about 10.3 liters per 100 kilometers, or 23 miles per gallon. I have not been getting anywhere close to that. I'm sitting at 13 liters per 100 kilometers, which is about 18 miles per gallon. Barely, just barely better than the Lexus GX550's twin-turbo V6. The view out of the hood, though, that is something I will pay for. The 4Runner, especially here in TRD Pro trim, is a very bro-specific vehicle. Toyota has absolutely just leaned into the kind of mean, aggressive design language. Yeah, I love it. I mean, if you want to stand out, this is absolutely the way to do it. The TRD Pro sits about 2 inches higher than any of the other non-off-road specific trims, and part of that is due, of course, to those Fox shocks, the dampers, the springs, but also because of the 33-inch, what are supposed to be on this vehicle, Toyo all-terrain tires. Obviously, to fit the wider wheel and tire setup, they have, of course, given you massive fender flares. Gloss black, I'm not a fan of the gloss black. Yeah, I don't know what else you could have done there. Even body color would have worked, to be honest. But so on the front, it's got the Heritage grille, it's got the TRD light bar, and these rigid fog lights. One annoying thing though, this TRD light bar, you can only turn that on once the high beams are on. It's some kind of regulatory thing they had to work around. It's slightly annoying that you can't turn that on, but yeah, I don't know. In a free world, should we be able to blind people when we want to? Maybe, maybe not. You also get a aluminum skid plate down there, TRD skid plate. On the Trail Hunter, that is upgraded a little bit. It's stamped steel, and then you also get one for the transfer case and the rear diff. Here, you do not. So a little bit lighter duty, but like I said, it's kind of built for the higher speed Baja type driving rather than rock crawling. And we see that there. We don't have the, I guess, rock rails, I guess you would call them, from the Trail Hunter. And then back here, you get the roll down rear window. Sick. The 4Runner will tow up to 5,800 pounds. And of course, as you'd expect, this trim gets the locking rear differential and a disconnecting front anti-roll bar. So let's go test that out, but before, let's see how much we can fit in the back. Okay, we'll take a look at the back cargo space, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. Not only is there a penalty of weight with the hybrid system, there's also a cargo penalty. As you can see, the load floor, that's a good 3 inches right there that you're losing. Not completely. You can open this up. There's a little bit of storage there. And then there is another one of those just at the back, but the majority of the floor here is either battery or whatever other hybrid components need to be stuffed down there. You've got a 120 volt outlet right there, that's handy. A bunch of cup holders, and the back seats are big enough. Getting in and out is a little bit of a chore because those fenders are so big, but yeah, there's plenty of space back there. You've got 2 cup holders. It's a 60-40 split, manually foldable, and they automatically do another flip so you can take full advantage of fellow Toyota man out there has a police siren on his vehicle. Sweet. I will definitely blur out his license plate. So that second row does a secondary flip to take full advantage of the space you do have. But guys, this hybrid system is such a strange decision in this segment of the market. The off-road guys here, they love analog stuff, and they are the last people, in my opinion, that would benefit or be drawn to a hybrid system, especially when it eats into the practicality and usability of a vehicle they want to get the most out of on the weekends. The interior is where Toyota more than makes up for it. Digital display, which you can customize. We've got our turbo boost, as you guys saw, and our battery. Very high resolution, it looks great. However, I can't take my maps either from the built-in navigation or here Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which, yes, are standard and both wireless, onto the center screen. That would just make things a little bit easier, especially if I want to have my map here, let's say, and then if I want to use the camera setup, the camera system, really good 360 cam, and especially when you're going off-roading, you can see exactly where your front tires are, where they're going to be, where all the obstacles are, the rocks and whatnot. That's easy to use. Yeah, the cameras could be a little bit higher resolution and quality, but they're not terrible. It works really well. But the best part is Toyota has not gotten rid of all of the buttons and analog stuff that you can touch and feel around the cabin. Physical climate control, which is always there. We've got heated and ventilated seats, 4-way adjustable lumbar. These seats are great. And you've got a few leather trimmed items, the steering wheel and the shift knob included. We've got a JBL audio system. Probably the coolest thing about this is I can eject this speaker here, and that's a Bluetooth speaker, a Bluetooth JBL speaker. How often would you use that? Probably not often, but you would use it if you forgot your Bluetooth speaker and you're already 3-4 hours from home, right? So, you know, could I do without the fake carbon fiber? Yeah, probably, but all the materials are awesome. You've got some nice wireless charging. All of your off-road controls are down here, easy to get to, satisfying to use. 2 cup holders, and a incredibly small center console. I've switched our 2-speed transfer case into 4 high, so now we've actually got some torque going to the front axle. Finally, it gets to play. Noticeably softer here on the trail. Not doing anything crazy today, but you know my spot. I just want to see how much articulation that disconnecting sway bar actually adds. Okay, so what is our max speed that we can, the camera is shut off at what, 14 kilometers an hour? Okay, that's not good. That's a lot of water. Okay, let's throw it in 4 low, lock the rear diff, and disconnect that front stabilizer bar. Full attack mode. Nothing. Easy. So easy. All right, let's give it the real test. Up my little embankment here to test a little bit of the articulation. Of course, the front diff is open, but it does have brake-based torque vectoring, effectively. It's simulating what a limited slip would do up there. Zero drama. Zero drama. That was easy. So, just a quick off-road test for you guys, mainly for articulation. It did pretty well. We did not get it on 3 wheels, which is a good thing. We want all tires to have as much contact with the rocks as possible. Now, of course, with a Bronco or a Wrangler, you would get a locking front differential, a little bit more hardcore of an experience, bigger tires, just slightly. But in terms of balancing on-road comfort and off-road capability, the TRD Pro is great. Starting price here in Canada for the 4Runner Hybrid is $69,000 as spec'd, 84,000 Canadian here, or 70,000 USD. Now, for a turnkey solution, it does pretty much everything you could expect it. It is a hardcore off-roading SUV, still so comfortable off-road. I'm just not sure I would be prepared to sacrifice the cargo space in exchange for what, 600 extra pounds of weight and yeah, a fight of noise when you're on and off the throttle at lower speeds around the city. So let me know what you guys think. 4Runner TRD Pro, incredibly capable, great to look at. We'll see you next time.